Hello, and welcome back to another installment of the Top 10. Today we have something very special. We have the Top 10 Moustaches in video games. So, just like our Top 10 in movies, the rules are still pretty similar. Number 1, Moustaches only. Number 2, only one character per video game. And, well, those are the two big ones. We are going to go over them. Some of them are a little bit tricky, but bear with me here. So we are going to jump right into it with number 1. One more point, of course, is that this is in no particular order. So just bear that in mind if you think, oh, you put him last or you put him in the middle. Well, they're all good. Number 1 is a character named Warden from Rainbow Six Siege. He worked for the Secret Service and later the Presidential Protective Division. So this is a gentleman who has prime access. He is protecting the most influential people in America, and you can see in this photo here, which I will be showing you in the order that I am seeing them, that he is a rather suave character. He is very confident, very capable looking, and you can see this appears to be the Oval Office. So he's in a very important place here. Our second picture is him up close, no particular place, good lighting of course, and you can see that his mustache is a perfect, how should we say that, broom handle or paintbrush, I suppose. It is well maintained, good thickness. Our third photo here is him looking a little bit cocky, perhaps. He appears to enjoy adjusting his tie. I think he's doing that in almost every picture and showing off that nice watch. But you can see even here, resolution is not perfect, of course. You'll find some of my pictures are rather low quality, but you can see even with the resolution, we see that mustache plain as day. Okay, number 2, we have Dudley from Street Fighter, the Street Fighter series. Now, Dudley is an English boxer who took up professional boxing to bring his family back to affluence. We can see in these photos here, if you've ever played Street Fighter, I think he wasn't in the originals. I think he started in something like Street Fighter 3 or what have you, but you can see his weapon of choice is his boxing gloves. So a very dedicated gentleman, always wearing his green with a button-up shirt. It looks rather tight, but he manages to get the job done. So his mustache is quite long compared to Warden's and almost flicking at the corners here. A bit difficult to tell, but here we can see it is quite a dark mustache. Our next picture here, much clearer to see. We see his mustache is a handlebar. It is curling at the corners quite well. And you can see again, he has some rather tight-fitting clothes. And yet, it's a fighting game, so he is quite good at what he does. Our third and final picture here is a art piece, of course, not from the game, I suppose. But we can see him again with that handlebar mustache. Very well shaped, of course. In a video game, mustaches can be perfect, right? But always wearing those boxing gloves. Okay, next up we have Luigi from Super Mario Brothers. Now Luigi, of course, he is Mario's younger brother. What else do I have? He is also taller, I think by a couple pixels in the original game, but I know Luigi quite well. Why did I choose Luigi and not Mario? Because I always had to play as Luigi. You know, I'm always second player, right? So Luigi was always my favorite, of course. I had to play as him, but I really did grow to like him, and I do think his mustache is a finer form than Mario's mustache. So out of all of the four of them, there was Mario and Luigi, and then their evil friends, I suppose, or duplicates or what have you. Out of all of them, I prefer Luigi's mustache here. Here we have a photo of him. Good texture in this one. Usually it's quite a simple design for Luigi, but I think this is from the Super Smash Brothers game. So they made the overalls look like real Gene. And then in this next photo here, he has his Hoover. So he's ready to suck up some ghosts in that scary game, I suppose. So let's see. There we go. Look at that mustache. It is perfectly shaped and has great volume. With Mario, the mustaches always had substance. They were always three-dimensional objects. They're not just painted on the face in the video games. They are three-dimensional here. So there you go, Luigi, my favorite. Okay, next up, what have we got here? We have Grayson from the Order, 1886. Grayson is a Knight of the Order. So this particular game, I believe I am breaking my rule here because Grayson has some big sideburns. And what did I say? Mustaches only. So I'm breaking my rule as usual, but I thought his mustache was a must-have in my collection here. So in our first photo here, and one thing I like is I think all my pictures are, he's wearing a different outfit. And I quite like that in a game where you can see different outfits, different clothes. So here we've got, I believe this is the uniform, I suppose, of the Order. And he's got that metal on the shoulders there. It reminds me a lot of that new Kingsman movie. I believe one of the characters had it like that in the movie, the Kingsman. Spoiler alert. I will be doing a future top 10 for movies. And there is some good mustaches there. So here we have him. He has a thick mustache that is just hanging all the way down, but you can see it actually droops down at the corners, so it's quite well aligned in the center, but the corners dip down to, well, past the edge of the mouth, I suppose. Our second picture here, very high resolution here. He's got a more traditional uniform on, and I tell you, I really just admire the detail they put into this sort of thing. But of course, what are we concentrating on? The mustache. And these are high-res pictures to show you. You can see every strand of it. That is a bushy mustache there. So let's see, Grayson, but of course he has some mean chops on the side there, sideburns. Our third picture is him wearing that original uniform again, and he's got some wear and tear, you could say. Some fluids have gotten onto his uniform, but this must have been after a battle. But of course he's looking quite resilient. So again, you can see here the corners are just pulling out a little bit here of his mustache, but you can see his sideburns, quite good sideburns, of course, but we are concentrating on mustaches today. Okay, next up, I believe we're on to number 5 here, is Sheriff Whitehorse from the Far Cry 5 video game. Sheriff Whitehorse here is Sheriff of the Hope County Sheriff's Department. He is one of the supporting characters in the game. His mustache was something, as a character, I can't say I really liked him too much. It's hard to even find a good picture of him, because of course he was just in the one area. He doesn't really explore outside of that too much, but he was something. Of course, the ending, a redeeming factor. He redeemed himself. At the beginning, he seemed like he wasn't too interested in doing his job. But at the end, he redeems himself, of course. But yeah, Sheriff Whitehorse, his mustache was big, and of course it's not about your favorite character. It's about good mustaches, top 10. So what have we got here to look at? Number 1, we can see him. You're going to see he's in the same area pretty much all the time. But here it is in the dark, but we can see it is long. His mustache is coming out here, not necessarily a handlebar. It is just sweeping to the sides. That has some good length to it there. This is not, I don't believe that his mustache is growing into the face. It looks like it truly is just coming out of the mustache area and sweeping to the sides, holding itself there. So here's a nice dark shot here. You can see the mustache in good detail, picking up that light. Our second photo here, I'm not quite sure what he was doing in this one. Not the best resolution, but you can see that is, even at low resolution, you can see a good mustache there. This third one here, this is a good photo. It's him in the vehicle with you, and there's that other woman. I don't really remember the game too well, but he was just getting out of the vehicle. He was going to go back to work, and you can see in up close, very good resolution here, that we have some substance. His mustache has some thickness to it. No product, it looks like, of course, but that's what makes it a good mustache, is because they managed to render it quite well, looking rather unkept, looking rather unmanaged. He does pull off a very natural look in this one. Okay, this next one is going to be good. This is Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid 4. Now, in the whole series, all those Metal Gear Solid games, oftentimes the main character had just a full beard, I suppose, in some form or another. But in this particular installment, this is when he is older, he has a full mustache and nothing else. So a little bit of information, of course. He is an aged man in this game. It is Snake's final appearance in terms of when the games are set, as far as I know. So other games that came out after this game took place before it, so they don't count. But this was a good one here. I remember when this came out, and I thought, wow. Of course, you're playing as an older gentleman, but still very capable. He's got his advanced suit on, which I'm sure helps him perform his duties. Our first photo here is very old Solid Snake there with his mustache. A white mustache there. So you can tell he's quite aged. His mustache has gone white. And it looks like he's sneaking up on someone. It's been ages since I've even seen this game, so forgive me if I don't remember too much. But I do remember his mustache. Our next photo here is just a good close-up of his mustache. That is just like Warden from Rainbow Six Siege. We were talking about a bit of a paintbrush there going on. Perfectly cut to the lip line, not to the top lip, but to the lip line where the lips meet. I find that to be the best style, really, for me. So I quite enjoy when someone has this sort of mustache. It's just plain and simple, no-nonsense sort of mustache here. Let's see here. Next up, our last picture is him without the eye patch. This, I believe, must have been the end of the game, I remember. And you can see gray, still gray, but even then, wow. It's a good mustache. Well-shaped, well-formed, and well-trimmed. Even in a war zone, he has a well-trimmed mustache. Okay, our next mustache. We're getting into some very good ones. I don't want to be biased, but I prefer the ones at the second half of the list here. The next one is going to be B.J. Blazkowicz from Wolfenstein, the new Colossus. This particular one, I must say, I love this one. You might say he never had a mustache, but he did in one mission. And I know it was fake. It was a fake mustache, but I thought I've got to include it because in a video game, when the mustache is on the face, it's real, right? It sticks perfectly. It's like a real mustache, so I'm including it. So let's see, B.J. Blazkowicz, Terror Billy. This is appearing in the Venus mission when he's auditioning to play himself in a film. That does not tell you too much, does it? So our first photo here is Blazkowicz, and he is checking the details of the movie. He is dressed up like he's trying to, what should we say here? He's trying to get into that situation, so he's dressed in a way that he can infiltrate, would be a good word. Got that mustache, though, very beefy. Now, of course, he is a big, strong man, lots of scars, so they had to choose a mustache for him that would fit his physique. So they chose one that was just gigantic here. That is like a proper chevron, I suppose we could call that. Just very big. Our next picture here is from the cutscene, a very close-up picture of his face. You can see his scar over his eye and his giant mustache here. So very big mustache. And you can see it's not the greatest resolution in terms of seeing all the hairs individually, but it's pretty good. And we have one more picture here. This is him when he was practicing his lines. So he's got his lines written on his hand. And even in this one, from a far distance you can see, I'd say the resolution is quite good in this one with his huge mustache. So I quite like this particular character. Of course, I like this character. I like this mustache. It's got to be in my list. Okay, next up, we've got Captain Price. And this is a tough one for me. I can't quite say I really understand with Call of Duty. This is Captain Price from Call of Duty. But I chose Captain Price from Call of Duty 2. And I don't even know if they're the same character technically, or did they reboot? And I don't know about it, but this first photo is not from Call of Duty 2, but in it he does not have his usual, I think usually it's the mutton chops going into the mustache. That's usually a style, I believe it was. But in this picture, he does not have the mutton chop, so I've included it. But he's wearing some more modern gear. So this is not Call of Duty 2, I don't think. But that's Captain Price, of course. But I like this one. It's almost Hulk Hogan-ish. It's not like when we were talking about Whitehorse, where even though it's long, it's not growing from the cheeks. But for Captain Price here, it is growing from the cheeks. It just terminates here. Like the growth stops here. And he keeps it well trimmed. But here in our next picture, you can see this is from the old game, old picture. And it's the same style, of course. He's growing it all along here, but it's not, I don't consider that to be the sideburn necessarily. That's just a really big mustache that has some extra growth on the sides here. And our last picture here, it says Captain Price, I believe it is. And he is Call of Duty 2 right there. So there you go. Call of Duty 2, I don't know. That game, I think many people just passed over it. Because they played the Call of Duty, well, I forget what the first one was called. Then they played the Finest Hour. I think that was technically a 2 or something of the sort. But then it went to 3. But the normal 2, I know I might be mixed up here and I don't know what I'm talking about. But this was a long time ago. I think it was about 15 years ago. So I can't say that I remember very well. But I do remember he had a mustache in Call of Duty 2. I wouldn't forget that. Okay. Next up is a good one. This has got to be one of the best, as I've been saying. This is Arthur Morgan from Red Dead Redemption 2. Of course I'm going to choose Arthur or John from Red Dead Redemption 2 because you can grow your facial hair in that game with time. Your facial hair will grow in that game. You can choose if you want to concentrate on the chin, on the sideburns here, or on the mustache. And of course, you can decide if you want to be clean on the sides and bottom and just have a nice mustache. So I thought we've got to include him. Of course, you can have a giant mustache if you want it. So here's our first picture, and he's got a real big mustache. This has got to be one of the biggest you can get. I don't know what level it is. It's level 0 to 10, I think it is. 1 to 10, 0 to 10. So that's a big one. And of course, I love these high-def pictures here because you can see every single strand of hair. So high resolution. This person, whoever's playing the game, must really like mustaches, of course, because he's got him sporting a big one. This next one is two pictures on top of each other. You can style your mustache, and here we have the, I suppose it would be a sort of handlebar, and on the bottom it looks more like a bit of a walrus going on here. So, of course, you can style it if you want. There are a few styles that you can choose. And our last photo here from the cutscenes, let's see, he's got just a big handlebar here. Very high-level handlebar. I'm not quite sure. I don't memorize the what each level looks like, but that's one big handlebar mustache. That's like, there are a few YouTubers who have big handlebars like that. Let's see. When I see something like that, I think about a gentleman, Bob and Elliot, his mustache. That is a YouTuber who has a magnificent mustache, and it reminds me of that in a sense. Okay, the last mustache, and I think I saved my favorite for the end. I'd say BJ Blazkowicz was close to my favorite. That was near the top for me, but this has got to be my favorite of all. What we're talking about is Sergeant Johnson from Halo. He, in my opinion, made the game good, like special. Of course, you play as a faceless character, but anytime you see him in a mission, it would be, you feel reassured that you have someone capable fighting alongside you. So let's see here, Sergeant Johnson, a few little facts, of course. He is the first human to kill a member of the Covenant, the alien species, and the only human to witness the beginning and the end of the Human Covenant War. So that I pulled that from the internet, so if it's not right, please don't blame me. So we have some pictures here. I believe these were from one of the either it's really, really good CGI or it was live action. But it's a video game still. I think I have a couple pictures from a game somewhere. So here we go. You can see Sergeant Johnson with a fantastic mustache, military regulation trimmed above the top lip. So he is sticking to the regulation. He is a guy who plays by the rules, but he's also very capable in that regard. The next picture here is a high-res, well, I suppose cinematic, I could call it, cinematic photo here of him up close. You can see his mustache. It is hanging over the sides a little bit. It might not be regulation, but still, it's good. You can see he has potential. He has capability to have a huge beard, but he chooses to go with the mustache. So what makes this one of my favorites? It's one of the smallest mustaches on the list. Well, I think what really sets it apart is that he can do more. but he chooses not to. He's just, as a character, I think he really helps bring it together too. And our final picture, of course, is up close and personal. Here you can see that is the best picture for last. I think Sergeant Johnson has to be one of my favorite characters ever in a video game. And here is the perfect picture. You can see that mustache is bushy, but very well maintained, perfectly maintained here. So, that's that. Okay, and with that, we end our list, our top 10 of the best video game character mustaches. And if I missed anything, please write it in the comments down below so that I can see what other characters you like that have mustaches. I really do want to know, so please let me know. And if enough people were to submit more characters with good mustaches, it could be a movie, a video game too. You can put the comments in any video and I'll see them. And if there are enough other characters with mustaches, I'll make another video with your characters in it. If they're, of course, good mustaches. And remember, mustache only. I break my own rules, but I don't think I'll break them in that regard. So please, mustaches only. But I hope you enjoyed. How many of these characters do you actually know? How many of them have you actually seen before in a video game? Now, I must admit, I haven't played every video game here. I've played most of them, I think. But let's see, how many have you played? And which is your favorite? So thank you very much for watching this video, Top 10 Video Game Mustaches. And I hope to see you again soon. There will be some first impression videos coming out and what have you in the future. So thank you very much, and Too-da-Loo.